While shopping in Costco the other day, this caught my eye. It's the Motorola Focus85 home security camera. So I picked one up to have a play around with it, and I thought you might want to have a look at it too. It's a 720p HD Wi-Fi controlled camera with apps for iOS and Android, and it can be remotely panned and tilted using those apps. And there's a few other remote features as well I'm going to show you through the course of the video. Now inside the box you get a plug, of course, that's the UK power adapter there, and there's the camera itself. A very lightweight box, so I was wondering why is it so big, and it was revealed when I took the bottom out and there's nothing in half the box, so it's big box, little camera. Now there are other configurations of this camera sold more as a baby monitor, and that's given away a little bit by this long and unsightly label that's on the power lead, which is going on about strangling children with cords, or I should say rather not strangling children with cords. However, since there's no children in my house, I can remove that and make the lead nice and neat. That wire is 9 feet or 275 centimeters long, which isn't that long. It's terminated in a micro USB plug. Now let's get on and have a look at the camera itself. It's a very lightweight camera, surprisingly so, all plastic bodied. Around the back here you can see we've got a little aerial sticking out there which tilts side to side but doesn't go up and down. We've also got a little monitor thing here which picks up the temperature, a temperature sensor. That's where you plug in your power lead. We've got an on-off switch on the camera itself, and on the front of the camera there's a little speaker there, and on the base we've got 3 rubber feet. Now we've got a user's guide and a quick start guide. I think we'll only need the quick start guide to get up and running. So we'll plug in the power lead, which is the first thing it says to do. Notice we've got a ferrite core on there, which should cut down on interference or something like that. Plug it into the power, and then using the quick start guide, just get a scan app and scan the QR code that's on there, which will direct us to the App Store, and I'll be able to download the appropriate app. Now the app's called Hubble, and that's mentioned quite a few times in the instructions and things. I'm not too sure if Hubble's separate to Motorola or just part of the same company. Anyway, you need to set up an account on here. So once you've set that up, you're ready to get the camera configured. So you add a camera up here. Notice it says plug in, switch camera on. We've already done that. Wait for the red light to flash on the camera. As you can see, it's flashing there on the top. Press the pair button on the bottom, which is that little one there, which is quite well hidden.
Ready for pairing.
As you can see, the process is as simple as possible, no technical knowledge required at all. It even talks you through some of the parts of the process. So what we're doing now, we're trying to connect up the camera to the network. So wait for the app to find the camera. Type in a name for the camera. I'm calling mine front of house. Obviously, if you had multiple cameras, you could call them different names so that when you're getting alerts off them, you'd know what camera had seen what. The next thing is need to connect it up to my Wi-Fi network. So the camera itself needs to know the password for the Wi-Fi, so I'm going to type that in now. So I've done that, and now the camera's trying to connect directly up to the Wi-Fi. Give it a few seconds, fast forward in time, and there you go, it's now connected. So we'll click on view live camera, but before we can see it, this splash screen comes up telling me I've got a free trial, and this isn't some sort of con, this is a real thing. I've got cloud video recording enabled for a trial period free of charge, and then after that I'm going to have to pay for it. You can see the prices on the screen now. You can stream live, that's fine, but if you want to store video, you're going to have to pay for it because it stores it up in the cloud. You've got to decide yourself whether that's important to you. I signed up for the trial period. They didn't ask for any credit card details, which was a good thing, just so I could try it out. But now we're back to the camera. We can see it moving around the desktop here, live video coming back to the phone. One thing I should point out, because presumably it was designed as a baby monitor, the motor in this camera is a lot quieter than any other cameras like this I've tested in the past. Just have a listen. No, you haven't gone deaf. The camera is almost silent in operation. Now, I've sped the footage up here so you can see the full range of articulation on the camera. It can go from looking all the way over one shoulder, all the way around to looking over the other shoulder. Can't spin round entirely, of course, and then it can point vertically and come all the way down, so it's pointing just below horizontal. Now, if that isn't enough for you, if you want, you can mount the camera upside down on a ceiling using the 2 screw holes on the base. Now we'll have a look at the iOS app. Now this does work either vertically or horizontally, but it'll look better on video if I show you horizontally. So let's go through the various features. So the first thing is controlling the direction of the camera. You've got this little cursor at the bottom left here. Now, holding down that cursor won't do anything. You have to just tap it and it moves the camera a set amount. So the more times you tap it, the more times the camera moves round. So you can stack up taps. It looks a little bit like Dance Dance Revolution or something on the screen there. So you set up like 8 taps round and then 8 taps the other way. The idea is because you've got a bit of lag, of course, over Wi-Fi or over the 3G connection if you're doing it that way. So you're able to get the camera in the right position. If you were to hold it down, by the time you let go, the camera's already moved past where you wanted it to. Right, the next feature along is the ability to talk back through to the camera itself. So I'll demonstrate that now by taking my phone to the other room and talking to the camera.
Hello there, I'm now talking to you from my remote location through the speaker on the camera.
That worked a lot better than I expected. Now, to take a snapshot of what you're looking at on the screen at the time, just press that button there and it'll store a photo in the photo library on your phone. Next one along, a little bit weird, it'll play a melody through the speaker on the camera. Now again, this will be a feature that's come from the camera's origins as a baby monitor, so you can be in a different location, perhaps downstairs watching the TV, scare your child half to death with a disembodied voice, and then terrify it even more with a bit of classical music. Next feature, see what the temperature is in the camera's location. Again, probably more use when it's used as a baby monitor. And then we've got a zoom on here. It's not an optical zoom, of course, just a digital zoom, which really is just cropping in on the image, but there you go, that's what that looks like. And then we've got this one, which enables us to hear what's going on at the camera's end when we're in our remote location. So let's demonstrate that now. Hopefully you can see there that the video and audio are not in sync with one another. But a nice little feature here, because I've got the alerts turned on, you can see at the bottom left there, get a little bit of a warning that sound's been detected at the front of the house, which is the name I gave to the camera earlier on. Now those alerts or notifications can be activated by motion, sound or temperature, and you can adjust the sensitivity of those independently or switch them on or off, and in addition, when it senses motion, you can get it to record a video of it and store it up in the cloud. The notifications will come through to the notification center on your phone just like anything else would do, but also if you load the app up, you can see the history of previous notifications and the timeline, and that's where you can play those videos from. The camera and the app are designed to be as easy to use as possible, therefore there aren't too many things that you can change in the settings. As you can see at the top there, it's quite easy to change the name of the camera, but also we can have a new icon for the camera. If we take a snapshot of the scene that the camera's looking at the moment, we can change that so that that is now the new icon for the camera, which is useful if you had multiple cameras on your network. There are only 2 other settings in the app. One is if you mount the camera upside down on the ceiling, you've got to change that setting there, and the other one is to adjust the volume on the built-in speaker on the camera. One thing missing, which will be very useful, is the ability to turn off these IR LEDs that are on the camera. They come on when the scene goes dark. You can't see them with the naked eye, but you can with my camera here, and they're useful for lighting up things over very short distances. As you can see, Captain Olimar here can be seen in the dark, and it could be useful if it was a baby monitor to make sure the child's still in its bed. However, they're not too good at lighting up over longer distances. As you can see in my garage here, they just don't seem to light up the scene at all. The big problem though with infrared LEDs that cannot be switched off, if you point the camera through a window at night time, all you'll see is infrared glare back off the glass. All the Wi-Fi cameras that I've tested tend to have pretty low frame rates. I'm going to walk into shot here to give you a bit of an idea as to what that looks like. So there you go, that's me waving to camera. It was absolutely chucking it down while I was doing that, so I was pretty anxious to get back in. The other thing I want to show you is that every now and then you'll get a glitch like that on the video stream. It seems to lose connection or something. And then every now and then it'll have to do this little reconnection type thing where this spins around for a couple of seconds before you get the video back on again. One thing I will say about this camera though, I've had it switched on for 3 weeks and it hasn't locked up on me yet, which is a bit of a first for me in Wi-Fi cameras. I've never had one switched on that long without having to reboot it. Now, of course, a camera like this is designed to be viewed from a remote location. So to demonstrate that, I'm turning off the Wi-Fi on my phone now. So it's only connected over 3G. So imagine I'm somewhere else in the world now and I want to view my camera. So when I click on it, one thing you will notice over 3G compared to Wi-Fi, it does take quite a while to connect up. Perhaps about 30 seconds or so on some occasions. But as you can see, once you've got it connected, you can operate it just like you're on Wi-Fi. The video quality doesn't seem to suffer either. This is one of those cameras that is better when there's not too much movement going on. The image quality does sharpen up the less things are happening on the screen. But as you can see in that freeze frame there, that's the kind of image quality you get from this 720p camera. Now, looking on the website, this model wasn't mentioned on the main pages. There's a couple more coming soon, so I was a little bit concerned. I did manage to find it though in the previous models or in the kind of other area here, and there's quite a few cameras on there, so I don't know if this is maybe a discontinued model or end of line or something. But it does have firmware updates still being issued for it. When I first switched it on, I got this option to update the firmware. I didn't really notice any great difference, but shows it's still being supported. But anyway, if you do want one of these cameras, I've got some links in the video description. Remember, I got mine from Costco, but if you're not a member, I've got some Amazon links up there as well, perhaps a few eBay ones. But that's it for the moment. As always, thanks for watching.